Welcome to the latest edition of In Focus. I'm your host, Cassidy Jo Fullerton. Cal State Fullerton is dedicated to making sure its students have all of the necessary skills that they need to succeed. Each college on our campus offers a variety of ways that fit their unique students' needs and goals. Today, we are going to hear about how the College of Communications here at Cal State Fullerton does its part to prepare students for their lives once they walk away with their diploma. I am pleased to welcome the College of Communications Dean, Scott Paynton. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself and what does the dean do? What's your day-to-day tasks look like?
So the dean's responsibility is basically to manage the overall operations of the college. And so that's split from sort of the leadership and visionary aspects of it, about the things that we want to accomplish, to overseeing curriculum, so the classes that you take, to overseeing facilities like this one, to make sure that our students have the tools that they need to prepare themselves for the workforce, all the way down to fundraising. So I'd say probably about 25% of my job is to help raise funds for the college so that we have the needed things for our students to succeed, for our faculty to succeed. So it's a broad range of responsibilities. We have, roughly with part-time faculty, around 200 faculty members, and we have almost 4,000 majors. Wow. And so it's my responsibility to make sure all of that's running right.
Very nice. And then what is the College of Communications known for? What sort of programs do we have and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we have three majors in the college. The major, or communications is one. We have human communication studies, which is another that has two aspects of it. It's the traditional communication studies like interpersonal, organizational communication. And then we have communicative disorders is another part of that. And then the third department that we have is cinema, television, arts. What I would say that the college is known for, so I've been here 8 months, and the phrase that I keep using for the college is access to success. We have a large number of students, over 50% who are first generation students. Over 40% of our students are Latino, and we're providing access to students who may not otherwise have access to education. When they get here, much like what you're doing with this show, they get hands-on learning. They do internships, they get a chance to interact very closely with their professors, and so they're very successful in the college. They're very successful in terms of their graduation rates, retention rates, their grades, etc. And then as a result of the work here in the college, our alum are extremely successful out in the workforce. And so I think what we're known for is preparing industry-ready professionals when they walk out the door from our college.
And can you discuss a little bit more about some of those programs specifically?
Yeah, so if you look at cinema, television, arts, those students learn things like production. They learn screenwriting, so we have a new MFA in screenwriting. So if you want to be a writer in the Hollywood, this is one way to go about doing that. We have components in which we look at the critical aspect of film and television. So how does it demonstrate gender roles? How does it demonstrate the way we look at ethnicity and culture in society? And so we can use that in terms of the ways in which we go about writing the scripts and writing what it is that we see in Hollywood. When you look at things like our communicative disorders program, they do things like work with kids with autism. They'll work with seniors with Parkinson's in terms of their language and speech abilities. They offer free clinics to students. They offer free clinics to the elderly in order to help them succeed in terms of their speech and be able to communicate. So very hands-on, real-world kinds of things. The Department of Communications has things like advertising, marketing, those sorts of programs, and again, it's very hands-on. So one example is our Practical Advantage, where students can actually engage in actual advertising and public relations for organizations in Southern California. So they're doing real work while they're here as students, which again prepares them to be out in the field when they graduate.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really
We
great.
all need that sort of stuff.
It's really great.
Yeah. And then what would you hope that potential or incoming students know about the College of Comm? What's really important for them to understand?
Well, I think there's a number of things. I think one of the things that students will understand or should understand is that if they come to the college, they're going to succeed if they want to when they get out of college. I've talked to industry professionals around the country, and over and over again I hear the same story about our students. They come out and they're ready to work. And so oftentimes they will compare our students with, students from Ivy League campuses. And over and over again, they say the students that come out of Cal State Fullerton are better prepared when they walk out the door of college than most of the students that come from Ivy Leagues. I think the reason that it is because the ways in which we train our students. Our faculty and our programs don't just do content where you read out of a book and then regurgitate that back. Students cannot get out of this college without having hands-on experience in internships, in their classrooms, and co-curricular activities. I mean, it's just impossible. And so employers appreciate the fact that they don't have to spend that kind of time with students training them how to do the job. Our students already know how to do that and do it well.
Very nice. What advice would you give to current students who are in the College of Com as far as getting involved and being able to succeed?
Yeah, the first thing I'd say is get involved, like you just mentioned. We have a number of clubs in the college. We have things like Practical Advantage. We have the Latino Communications Initiative. So a number of things that we have that are here for students to help them succeed. If students don't take advantage of those, they're going to put themselves at a disadvantage. The other thing I'd say to students is make sure you're talking with your faculty members. They're here for you. Our faculty genuinely want our students to succeed. And so not only talk to them about the classroom experiences and the work that they're doing in classes, the other thing I'd say is get to know your faculty, because the vast majority of them have connections in the industry. And so when we tell students you need to network in order to make those connections and get your foot in the door in the industries, the faculty members in our college are the first place that you should go to for that, because they know a broad swath of people around the country that can help students get their foot in the door and start their career.
Very nice. And is there any advice on how to network?
Well, like I said, one of the things that you can do is start to network with faculty, but many of our faculty in their classes have assignments, make things ready for students so that they can meet industry professionals and hand them their resume, hand them a business card, talk with them. So I've been to many events that faculty have scheduled as part of their classes where students are walking around and talking with folks from the industry.
Good.
The industry folks like that as well, because it's a very easy place for them to go as a one-stop shop to start to talk to our students. We also have internship coordinator, we have a career counselor in the college. Those two also do workshops on how to network, how to engage with other folks, how to engage with alumni. So there's resources across the college to help students with those skills if they don't already have them.
Okay, very nice. You've talked a lot about a lot of different things, and I'm curious, in your opinion, what should the higher education experience be like for college students?
I think it's a combo. I've never been a believer that higher education should simply be job preparedness, that we're just doing, workforce placement. I think it's our responsibility to prepare our students to do the careers that they want to do and do them in an appropriate way. But at the same time, I think the notions of general education and a well-rounded education is vital to our students to be well-rounded citizens. As I often say, I want the educational experience for our students to prepare people to be my next door neighbor. Who do I want to live next to? So there's one layer of what it is that they do for work, but the other layer is, are they a good neighbor? Are they an ethical citizen? Do they do things of value in society and look out for the broader community? Those are the sorts of things I think we need to teach students, as well as the content of their particular major or the career that they want to do.
And how would we go about doing that?
Well, I think general education is a big one. When I reflect back to my undergraduate years in the GE courses, I think sometimes at the time, I didn't think they were going to be of any value to me because it wasn't my particular major. In hindsight, things like introduction to music or introduction to psychology or some of these other topics that weren't necessarily my major were things that I probably should have paid more attention to, because at least I can have those conversations with folks who are interested in that at some level, rather than not knowing anything about that. So to be able to expand your worldview, general education is that vehicle in which students can learn a great deal of things that's not just about the thing that they want to major in.
Very nice. You did talk a little bit saying about when you were in school, and I'm curious to know a little bit more about yourself. What did you go to school for, and where did you go?
Sure. So the story I tell sort of wherever I go, I'm a CSU through and through.
Okay.
My dad was a founding faculty member at Cal State San Bernardino, so I literally grew up on that campus, skateboarding with college students and swimming in the pool. They let me play basketball with them in the gym. So it was, this little 9, 10-year-old kid, hanging out with college students. It was a lot of fun. So I went to Cal State San Bernardino for my undergrad. My major was English, and my intention at that time was to teach high school. So when I started to go into the credential program, they were making some adjustments to that, and I discovered that one more semester from the credential program and I could get a master's degree. And since I really wanted to do communications as an undergrad but couldn't do that to teach high school, this was the opportunity to get my communications master's degree.
Awesome.
Right. So I went to CSU Chico, another CSU campus, got my master's degree, and then decided I wanted to go on and get my PhD. So I did that in Southern Illinois, and then I was fortunate enough to come back to the CSU, and I worked 18 years at Humboldt State University before I came here. So I've been in the system, like I joke sometimes, my whole life. I have 8 family members that represent 12 degrees from different CSU campuses. So
Wow.
To me, places like Cal State Fullerton are really vital to society for upward mobility, for educating our citizens, for allowing people to have opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have without the education we provide.
Very nice. And how did you end up at Cal State Fullerton? You mentioned before you were at Humboldt.
Right. So I was Associate Dean at Humboldt State University, had been there, like I said, for 18 years. And a colleague of mine had nominated me for this position when it came open. So when I came down here and interviewed, much of like what we're talking about right now, I was extremely impressed with the caliber of the faculty. As I often say, they're world class. The connections that they have in the industries that they represent is an opportunity that I think students would be hard pressed to find anywhere else, particularly our location. The diversity of the student body was a big factor for me. And then the work ethic of students. So students like you who are doing shows like this, it was just amazing to me to see how involved students were. So I remember very vividly leaving my interview that day and calling my spouse and saying, I can really see myself working there. And fortunately enough, it worked out.
Very nice. Well, we're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
How do you think your own life experiences have prepared you for this position?
Well, like I said, growing up in the CSU, I've seen the life-changing value of that. And I've been in a lot of roles in the CSU. So, truly at heart, I'm still a faculty member. I'm a professor. So the thing I think I miss the most is being in the classroom and engaging with students. That's what I got into the profession to do. But at the various levels that I've been at, I've seen the lives of students change. And I think that's what I bring to the table in terms of my role now, is to be able to highlight that, to be able to take advantage of the opportunities here, to create environments and situations for our students that they might not otherwise have, to launch them into careers that maybe they would have only dreamed about, 5, 10 years ago. I think knowing the system, knowing how it works, being involved with the system, understanding its value, gives me that kind of an advantage to be able to maneuver things on campus and in my college to provide some of those opportunities.
Very nice. And then what has your experience been like at Cal State Fullerton so far? You mentioned you've been here for 8 months. Yeah. You mentioned when you interviewed, you were really taken with it and you loved it. Has it lived up to its expectations? Have we surpassed them?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. One of the things that I often point to is, at different levels on a campus, it really takes the commitment and involvement from students and faculty, and it also takes a very solid senior leadership team, so president, provost, et cetera. This is a highly motivated campus, a campus that really wants to create change and make change.
Right.
We say over and over and over again, we want to be the model comprehensive university in the country. That's not just words. So my experience here has been one in which that's an environment that has created an opportunity for me to really move and push forward and try to create those opportunities rather than those just being words and, you know, it not being a good opportunity. So I think in a lot of ways it surpassed my expectations because, you know, we're allowed to go out and really be entrepreneurial, really push the boundaries and hopefully help our students.
Very nice. And what sort of impression do you hope to leave on the students here and just on Cal State Fullerton in general?
Well, you know, my answer to that is I would hope that it's not my impression. I think the impression I would want to leave at Cal State Fullerton is the impression of the students that we serve and the impression that our faculty have. I'm very fortunate to be able to brag about the quality of our faculty, the quality of our students, and the quality of our alumni. And to me, you know, it's not about my impression other than it is about telling the story. I think we have a truly unique and fantastic story in the College of Communications. I don't think we're trying to compete with other colleges of communications to try to be like them. I think we have a very particular brand, and really it's my hope that the world sees that, and it's my hope that prospective students see that and will want to come here.
Very nice. Is there anything else you'd like to add today?
No, I mean, like I've mentioned before, you know, I think what personifies the college are things like these shows, Aldea, OC News, you know, the things that our students are doing. If I can turn the attention to those and get more exposure for that, that's really, you know, what I'd like to do, because I've been increasingly impressed at the work ethic and creativity of our students and what it is that you all are able to do. And so anything I can do to help facilitate that, I'm glad to do.
Well, I know we all appreciate these opportunities, so thank you again for that.
Yeah, of course. I'll try.
This is all the time we have for today. I want to thank our guest once again for being here. Until next time, I'm Casty Jo Fortin. Thank you for watching In Focus.